Alrighty, g'day everyone. Welcome to Rolling Conversations this afternoon on Thursday. We hope you're keeping safe and well at home. For those in isolation, we're really thrilled to have a couple of great blokes as part of our Rolling Conversation today. In any sporting organisation, it's really important, obviously, to have great athletes, of which these two men in their categories and classifications are, but it's also really important in any community to have good blokes. And I must say, these are two of the best. So welcome all the way from Perth, Dennis Devereaux, and also from Bathurst, Warwick Holmes. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, Mick. Just a clarification, I'm in Bunbury, a couple of hours south of Perth along the coast.
There you go. I did my research, but obviously not well enough. So we're off to a good start. Now, Dennis, on that, Warwick's got one of the great nicknames, obviously, going around, the Rooster. Do you feel the need to have a nickname yourself, or have you got one you can share with us?
The last few months, there's been a few people call me Dennis the Wheelie Menace.
Okay. That could stick. Well, what I'll do is I'll do a shout out to our community, and if anyone's got a nickname for you, Dennis, we'll throw those up on the screen, and we'll see by the end of the Rolling Conversation we might have a new one for you. But it is a great pleasure. It is a great pleasure to have you both with us. I wanted to start talking about your sport. You're both wheelchair racers for our community just tuning in, and g'day to everyone online with us. You are both wheelchair racers. Tell us a little bit about your journey to become wheelchair racers. We might start, Warwick, with you, if we may. How did you get involved in the sport of wheelchair racing?
So I got involved at the 2018 Christmas camp, where I first met Pat Kirkland, and got to see Kurt, and got to meet Louise Savage for the first time. And so that's how I got into my wheelchair racing, because I got to trial out a chair there, and got the race on the track with Kurt. So
very cool. And you haven't looked back. Dennis, what about you, mate? What's your journey to wheelchair racing been?
In June last year, I fell off a platform and smashed both my tibias. So before that, I was a able-bodied athlete, middle of the packer, and then so I was lying in hospital for about 5 weeks, thinking I need to do something, otherwise I'll go crazy, because I knew I'd be a few months in a wheelchair after that. So I started researching wheelchair racing, because I've been told I'd never be able to. I used to run marathons, so they said I'll never be able to run again. So I did a bit of research, found Rebound WA, and contacted them there. Asked them, are there many people doing wheelchair racing in WA where I could make some connections? They said no, they keep leaving WA and going to Sydney. So Louise and Maddie have left and gone to Sydney. So, but they said there's actually a young bloke, Corey Crombie, in the same town as I am, in Bunbury, and they put me in contact with him. And within about an hour of me sending an email to them, Corey and his family turned up at the hospital and were really keen, because basically there's only one, a couple of other people doing wheelchair racing in WA. So Corey and his family helped me get hold of an old wheelchair they had at the back of the athletic stadium, and they kept on talking about how great the Oz Day week is. So contacted Pat, and I was already coming over to Sydney anyway, so caught up with Pat, and the rest is history.
Yeah, well, you certainly follow in huge footsteps, don't you, with Louise and Maddie from WA, and we count you as part of our community now, Dennis, a very popular part of our community as well. Before we came on air, we were just having a yarn about when you guys met towards the end of last year. Now, we got Dennis's point of view that when you got together for the first time, Warwick never shut up. But I'm going to ask you, Warwick, can you recount the story about when you met Dennis for the first time, and is it true that you couldn't shut up for about 45 minutes?
Yes. I didn't stop talking. But Dennis was a bit the same as well.
It strikes me you
So,
two would have plenty to talk about.
yeah, we were talking about all sorts of things.
He didn't bore you with the AFL. He goes on about the AFL a bit. I mean, I'm not sure who his team is, but
Yeah, no, he wasn't talking about the AFL when I first met him.
hey, now, guys, we spoke about wheelchair racing, and I'm not going to give you a right or reply there, Dennis, so we're going to move on. You guys had the experience of the GIO Oz Day 10K, a wonderful race on Australia Day. I'd love to spend a bit of time talking about that because it was your first crack at it, both of you, in January this year. So we might start, Dennis, with you. Just tell us what that experience was like coming over for the race and finishing your first GIO Oz Day 10K this year around the rocks.
Yeah, Mick, it wasn't just Oz Day 10K, it was a whole week leading up to it, a couple of races in Canberra and then Blacktown. I'd never been on a track before, so it was great meeting all these legends of the sport and people who are trying to qualify for the Olympics, trying to get qualifying times, but they still had time to spend with me to help me because I was virtually knew nothing about how to drive the machines. But the Oz Day 10Ks, as I said, I've been hearing about it from Corey for ages and looked at the videos for previous years. I was already over there visiting family, and it's a fantastic atmosphere to not only have a race where there's lots of wheelchairs, because a couple of other races I've done, there's only 1 or 2 or 4 wheelchairs, but not only to have all the wheelchairs, also to have all the juniors there, as well as the international seniors, as well as a lot of legends on their race day, and just to see how they go through the process. But I think it's really important to continue the race because of it's strictly a wheelchair event, which is so rare in Australia, and it's just great to be part of a field where you're all just trying to compete. And fortunately, I was there on a day where there was a lot of juniors doing their first race as well, and that was really exciting to be involved with all the juniors that I'd got to know over the week before, and it's a real lot of hype, and I think there's a lot of future in the racing, whether they'll reach international standard or not. I think it's a really enjoyable bunch of people, and also the spectators really get into the event.
Yeah, they certainly do. We say g'day to Corey Crombie there. He's jumped online and said g'day, Dennis and Rooster. So hello to Corey over there in WA as well. And, mate, thank you for watching. What an athlete he is, and how exciting it is to watch Corey develop over the next few years. Warwick, it was your first Oz Day, and as Dennis said, you're a part of this incredible bunch of young juniors with Cormac and Bridie and Ethan and many, many more. What a thrill that must have been to compete and finish your first GIO Oz Day 10K.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous at the start of the race, and then Ethan and I were talking while we were at the start line, and we really just wanted to go in there and have some fun. And so we did, and we both loved it. And it was probably one of the best experiences that I've ever had while racing. So.
And who'd you have with you, Rooster? Did you had a bit of a contingent come down from Bathurst with you?
Yeah, so I had my family, my mum, my dad, and my brother. And so we went down the day before the actual race, and we stayed the day after and so we went through Burton to see like all the bushfire, where the fires hit, and I found it actually really cool.
Mm. And
Mick,
I don't want to bring up the rivalry, but who won out of you two, just as an aside?
Mick, can I recount the race for you? I'll tell you what exactly happened.
Go on.
So we're at the start line, and I was without knowing that Cormac was going to give me this advice, I decided just to gun it at the start. So I gunned it at the start and was well ahead of Rooster, and I was quite pleased about that. It was downhill, so we got to the first turnaround. I heard the ladies, they started a few minutes after us, so I heard the ladies coming through, and I pulled over to the left because we'd already decided that before, to let the ladies shoot through. And so I pulled over the left at the corner and just slowed down and waited for the ladies to come through. And I know Rooster was, 100 metres or so behind me. So so then all the ladies come zipping through. Then I just had a look at the end of the tail of the ladies. There's this little red rooster sitting on the tail of the ladies zipping around, and I was very upset about that. That it was only the ladies I was letting through. It wasn't the rooster. So I spent the next lap and a half trying to catch the rooster, and we were pretty close together. And but at that stage it was quite humid, and I was sweating quite a bit, and I started slipping a lot on my rims. I hadn't used any clister in that, and Rooster just started pulling ahead. But what happened then, I thought, oh, well, you go ahead, Rooster. I'll let you take the glory this year. I'm 50 years older than you, so you should be able to beat me. So I let him go ahead, but he kept on looking around for me. And then at one stage, he almost pulled up, and he kept worrying about whether I was injured in that. And he was waiting for me, and I just said, you go ahead. So it was great sportsmanship because he was really worried that I was going to beat him. So next year, mate.
He's coming for you, Rooster, next year. Don't worry about that. And we'll all be watching next year as you guys rip into each other around the rocks.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
Nice. Hey, guys, tell us about your ambition for your sport then. We'd love to hear what you'd like to achieve. Might start with you, Warwick, this time. What would you like to achieve with your wheelchair racing?
I would like to achieve to go the 2024 Paris Paralympics. So, and it's always been a dream to go to the Paralympics. Ever since I was watching when I first started watching Kurt race and Lou, and I just found it amazing how they did it. And when I went to nationals in Perth, just travelling on the plane and how you travel your chair was actually a bit new experience to me. So it was actually a really fun experience.
Yeah, great. Well, we can't wait to watch you, mate. There's so many in our community that are behind you and want to see you do well, and we all follow your journey. So let's see you in Paris in 2024. What about you, Dennis, in terms of the sport? You're obviously relatively new to wheelchair racing, but what do you see in the future for your sport?
Yeah, I can't officially be classified for athletic events because I'll basically probably just end up with a fused ankle. So I'll be able to, I used to run about 3 marathons a year, so I'll be the street marathons I can still enter. And I've been heavily involved in triathlons over the years, so I can't do any of the ITU type triathlons, but I can certainly enter the Ironman type triathlons. So I entered, I was already entered in a Ironman triathlon in Busselton, WA last December. So I borrowed a hand cycle and from Rebound WA and just went into it to see if I could actually achieve a finish before the cutoff time. So there was Nick Beveridge and I were the only two competitors. Nick finished in about 4 hours and I finished in about 7 hours. But I managed to finish before the cut-off time, which I was pretty pleased of. So I thought I'd just do a few of our local club triathlons after then. But then at the presentations, they announced that there was a position for the World Championships Ironman in Hawaii in October. So obviously Nick was going to get that place, but when they offered it to him, he said, "No, I'm too busy with the Olympics this year. Dennis can have it." So
cool.
So yeah, so I was due to head to the Ironman World Championships. I've spent, probably $50,000 worth of equipment, whereas when I did triathlons before, I had about $2,000 worth of equipment. Signed up a coach and trying to learn how to travel 180 kilometres in the hand cycle, and I've done a few marathons in the wheelchair, so I know I can manage that. Not a particularly fast time, but yeah, so that's what's ahead of me. They postponed Hawaiian World Championships till February. I'm not sure if that'll happen in February, but we've got a local Ironman here in Bustleton that's in December, so that may go ahead or may go ahead later in the summer. So it'd be nice to compete on a more competitive level in different track meets and that, but I'll be happy just to do the Summer Down Under every year and keep these juniors honest.
Nice. Well, it's compulsory, mate. We insist we have you every January over here for the series and, of course, the Australia Day race. So you don't have a choice in that, basically. We've signed you up anyway for the next 10 years. Hey,
so that sounds like a sponsorship deal, is it? Does that sound like a sponsorship deal?
As I said that out loud, I realised that was flawed. But if anyone watching on would like to sponsor Dennis, just let us know. How are you guys going in isolation, Warwick? I'm interested up there in Bathurst. How are the chooks? Of course, you get your nickname because you're a chook breeder. How are the chooks going? And I think you might even, for show and tell, have a little puppy there, don't you?
Yeah. So isolation up here is it was hard at the start, but I've gotten better into it. I've got school, and I've also adapted to get into my chair more often than usual. So, and I feed the chooks every day and look after them all. And Dusty's still going now that he's 20 years old. So
for those who didn't see that beautiful little video from ABC, can you just let us know who Dusty is?
Dusty is my 20-year-old rooster. I got him from my great-grandfather when he owned the farm. When he sold the farm, right before he sold the farm, I decided to take Dusty in, and he's stuck with us for 4 years. So he was 16 when I got him.
He's almost as old as Dennis now.
Yeah.
Hey, Dennis, how are you going, mate, in isolation? And have you got any chooks to speak of?
No chooks. Rooster is a friend is the closest that I've got for chook. Yeah, isolation has actually been good for me. One of the first things I did in isolation is I talked to Rooster and Ethan and a few of the other guys, and I thought, well, I really enjoyed their company and they'd be struggling. So what I did, I got onto Zoom straight away and set up a Zoom session, and a few of us juniors, I can call ourselves, or junior in the field of wheelchair racing, a few of us get together a couple of times a week just on rollers, and wheelies, flattening curves, we call ourselves. It's been good to get a connection. Also, from we've even picked up young Jaden from Auckland, who I know is watching on, and so it's good to get people from all over Australia together. That sort of dropped off a bit now because they've all got their training sessions happening. But no, that was good. Also with isolation, I've got a couple of adult children in Perth who work in Perth, and another daughter in Wollongong, and they've all their sport and social activities shut down. So I've actually seen them come and visit me and spend time with me over the last few months, and it's and fortunately here in WA we've probably had 2 rainy days since isolation, so we've been able to get out. I've been able to ride my hand cycle and swim in the ocean. I'm still swimming in the ocean, and do get the wheelchair out. So yeah, it's been working. It hasn't been too bad for me.
Now, you mentioned there that you're a dad, Dennis. I've copped a bit of flack during this rolling conversation series about my dad jokes. We've lost Dennis there. I've copped a bit of flack about my dad jokes, to be fair, which I felt a bit, it's been a bit unkind at times. Certainly that Matt Ryan's given me a bit of stick, but nonetheless, I've got one that I thought related a bit to the farm. Given Warwick, we were going to have you on, and I think Dennis, you're going to follow me up with a bit of farm gear as well. But so Warwick, I've got this sick canary out the back, and he'll be all right. He just needs a bit of treatment. So anyway, that's all I got. I don't know what Dennis is doing. Could go anywhere.
I pulled the power cord out.
Oh, that's all right. You're back.
This has got a bit of a. No, I heard
you missed a belter of a joke, so follow that up.
I heard the laughs in the background. Mine's also got a bit of a farm connection. One of my daughters a vegan, and I always tell her that if God didn't mean us to eat animals, he wouldn't have made them out of meat.
Well, there you go. See, now it's interesting that you ask a question about a vegan, because one of our very, very favourite members of our community who is actually a vegan as well, Sarah Stewart, joins us with a question on screen, which is, hey Rooster, have you built any Lego lately? Because, of course, Sarah's got a wonderful interest in Lego, and in fact, you've got some show and tell. Rooster, show us some of that Lego you've built, mate.
Yeah, so I've built a fair bit of Lego lately. I've got my Lego truck. I've also got a trailer that goes with it, which is just here.
Crikey, look at that.
I've got a sheep crate that goes on the back of it.
Nice.
So I've got my truck, and I've got some little minifigures that have little rooster hats on them.
Excellent. Very cool.
Which I built at the airport, which my mum built at the airport when I went to Perth.
Very nice, mate. What a good hobby. And as I say, Sarah Stewart's right into her Lego too. So I don't know what it is about our community, but it seems like Lego's all the rage. Now, Dennis, we are going to get your show and tell at the end, which is a surprise for everyone. It'll be a surprise for us too. But I wanted to do a shout out to our community who's watching on. We've got about 5 minutes or so, and we'd love to get your questions. So please shoot your questions through for Dennis and for Warwick, and we'll have a yarn for another 5 minutes, and then we're going to get a very special sign-off from Dennis at the end. What have we got here from David? Hey, Rooster, where do you get that custom sky blue Akubra from?
So I got this Akubra for my 14th birthday. It is my mum got it, I think, off the Akubra website. It's a limited edition electric blue. But the next one that I will hopefully get is going to be a hot pink
Okay.
Akubra. So
Stay tuned. I don't know what's going on there. But this rolling conversations is at everything. Now, a question for you, Dennis, and for Warwick, but I'll start with you, Dennis. What do you love most about the sport? That's from, I think, your mate Jaden, who you mentioned earlier is from Auckland.
I think it's just I've been involved in sport and in administrative capacity most of my life, and I just find the more elite people get, the more removed they are, and the more less interaction they have. Whereas with wheelchair sport, I was just fascinated how the legends and the Olympic coaches and the juniors and the parents are all helping each other and keen for everyone to get involved, even if they're not potential, top level sports people, just to get people mobile and yeah, that's what I really love about it.
Yeah, agreed, mate. It's a very special community. Warwick, what do you love most about your sport, mate?
I love just getting to meet new people, and the community, how they support each other, like Dennis said, with Mason D. Rosario and Luis Savage supporting the juniors and other people like Jaden overseas.
Yeah, indeed, mate. So we got a question there about what do you feel is your greatest achievement and why? That comes from Marissa. Start with you, Warwick.
My greatest achievement would have to be the 10K Oz Day, as I've always wanted to do it, and racing it from when I was watching Kurt racing it and Louise. And so when I raced in it this year, it was just the best, because I got to meet Reed McCracken and Eliza O'Connell. So
it was a great day, mate. It was a great day for all of us to watch you do it too. What about you, Dennis? In Marissa's question, what do you feel is your greatest achievement and why?
My greatest achievement is managing to select the best sporting team in the world to follow.
Sorry, mate, you're breaking up. We didn't get any of that. We can't go back. We've run out of time. A quick one from Andrew Docking. What do you call a rooster who wakes you up at the same time every morning? Sounds like a dad joke to me, but I'm a bit worried about where this is going. Oh, good. An alarm clock. Very good. Well done, Andrew. I reckon that that might be one for your repertoire there, Rooster. What do you think?
Yeah. I wake up same time my rooster crows. So
excellent. Now, dad joke wise, you got anything, Rooster? I mean, your dad's a funny bloke. I've met him. What do you got?
I actually don't have any.
Righto. Well, send us a couple of jokes for the Rooster there. I mean, Andrew's done a great job. Ethan's watching on. He says, thanks for your encouragement to keep our guys moving, especially through this time stuck inside. And it has been a wonderful opportunity for us to connect as a community. We don't have much time left. And I did promise earlier, Dennis, that you give us a little special treat. Do you want to get yourself ready to do your show and tell?
Bit of a musical interlude.
Lovely. Righto. Well, bear with us, folks, while Dennis gets ready. And Warwick, we've only got a minute or so left. Mate, thank you for joining us all the way from Bathurst. And it's great to see you looking so well. You're such an important guy in our community, and you're such a generous spirit. So I know that people have been looking forward to seeing you on Rolling Conversations. And, mate, we've loved having you.
Thank you. I've definitely enjoyed this, getting to see you and Dennis.
Yeah, great. You got that little dog there somewhere, mate? Give us a look.
Yeah, I'll just go get her if that's all right.
Sure, go for it. I'll just sit here. Righto. All right, folks. Looks like it's just me. I was talking about the canary recently that was sick, but I've also... Goodness me, what's happening here? Oh. Okay. Here we go. Nice, Dennis. Wow. What a finish. I mean, what else can we say? But what a fantastic performance. I think that's Dennis. All right, mate. We're signing off from Rolling Conversations. Thank you to Dennis Devereaux. We've never seen anything like that, mate. If it is in fact was you, Dennis. Warwick, mate, thank you for joining us on Rolling Conversations. I must say,
My pleasure.
we had no idea where this one was going to go, and it delivered in spades. So, gentlemen, stay well, and thanks for being a part of tonight's episode.
Thank you.
See you, boys.
Thank
Cheers.
you. See ya.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.